Good evening, it's meteorologist Michael Fecca. Welcome back to the 9 p.m. all-weather, all-streaming show that we do here every night during the work days and on weekends. We stream it out to all of our streaming platforms as well as to Facebook and YouTube. So if you're joining us from either platform, please feel free to leave us a question or a comment. Hopefully I'll be able to address it all as I go through the forecast, but if not, I'll go through at the very end and see if I can answer anything individually for you. But let's get started here with a look at our headlines. Well, for the rest of the night, we'll stay pretty quiet. We do have an increase in that cloud cover through the overnight, and that's what's going to eventually give way to that rainfall that we expect to move in here through the weekend. And then looking ahead to next week, temperatures are going to climb well above average, very spring-like for the middle of February. So I'll break down all of those details coming up here in this forecast. But let's get started here with a look at our national map. So we've got this area of high pressure that's kind of been locked in place over the last couple of days. That's kept the weather fairly quiet and dry. And now as it moves off to the east, it's going to make room for this area of low pressure to move in, and that's what's going to bring us our rainfall through tomorrow and into Sunday. But taking a closer look here within the tri-state, we don't really see anything happening just yet. Maybe a few higher level clouds just now beginning to kind of stream in overhead, but those clouds will really thicken up overnight tonight. But taking a look at those temperatures, we warmed up nicely this afternoon. We saw, plentiful sunshine, winds up out of the south, so that warmed our temperatures up around 10 degrees above average, and we topped out in the mid-50s this afternoon. 56 here in Evansville, even warmer to our south. 59 in Bowling Green, sitting at around 60 down towards Paducah. So a very warm, gorgeous day to round off the work week. Hopefully you were able to take advantage of that, do something outside this afternoon, maybe eat dinner outside, because looking ahead to this weekend, any outdoor plans, it's going to be a little bit damp out there, and I'll break that down in a moment. But looking at our temperatures, we've cooled down now into the upper 30s to right around 40 degrees across the tri-state, 41 there in Newburgh, sitting at around 33 in Henderson. Same thing out towards Dundee. Those seem to be the cool spots on the map this evening. But over the next 12 hours, we'll continue to drop down into the low to mid 30s overnight tonight, along with that increase in cloud cover. And even with the cloudy skies and the rain that we're expecting tomorrow, temperatures are still going to be very warm for our Saturday. We'll top out in the mid 50s by tomorrow afternoon. That's mostly due to that southerly wind direction. But let's time everything out here. So through the rest of the night, it'll stay quiet. Even as we wake up early tomorrow morning, this is around 9-10 o'clock, we're just looking at mostly cloudy skies. That rain doesn't really begin to fill in until around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And then as we go through the afternoon and into the evening hours, it'll kind of increase in coverage and intensity, especially as we head into the overnight hours of Saturday and into early Sunday morning. So this is just going to be a very widespread soaking rainfall across the entirety of the tri-state. Those rain showers linger into Sunday morning before coming to an end through Sunday afternoon. And we may see a few cracks of sunlight there just before the sun sets for Sunday evening. So it won't be all bad this weekend. It's kind of the second half of Saturday and the first half of Sunday that we're expecting that rain to be actively falling. If you want to make any outdoor plans, I recommend you do it the first half of Saturday before the rain gets here, because everything's going to be a little bit damp and soggy by the time we get into Sunday afternoon, even though the rain is going to have ended by then. But in terms of our rainfall amounts, we're looking at anywhere between 3/4 of an inch up to 1.5 inches across portions of the tri-state. Obviously, that'll kind of come together in some pockets. The models shift back and forth between where the heaviest pockets will end up, but in general, we're expecting 3/4 of an inch to 1.5 inches across our counties here. And it's going to be mostly beneficial because we've been quite dry recently. We've had a lot of snowfall this winter. Our snowfall amounts have been well above average, but snowfall doesn't equal a lot of liquid equivalent precipitation. So overall, our soils are still dry. Most of us are just in this abnormally dry category here, but portions of southern Illinois are under either a moderate or potentially even a severe drought there. That includes areas like Wayne County. And looking at our flood risk, luckily, the rain here is going to be spread out over 2 days. So we're not seeing all of this fall at once. Now, areas to our southwest, they're going to get into a little bit of those heavier accumulations, so that's why they have that flooding risk, a level 1 and 2 there across portions of Missouri and into Arkansas. But here in the tri-state, we may see some ponding on the roadways in your typical flood-prone areas, but we're really not expecting it to be a widespread issue by any means. And in terms of our severe weather risk, we're not really looking at much of a severe risk at all. Also, all of that mostly stays off to our southwest. So you can see areas like Texas and into Louisiana and even into portions of Mississippi or Alabama are under that level 1 and level 2 threat. But here in the tri-state, we should be just good to go with plain old rain. And speaking of the rain, I did want to take a little moment here to explain the science behind what we all experience right before the rain starts. And it's that strange smell that especially a lot of Midwesterners have that skill of kind of predicting when the rain is about to start because they can smell it. And I want to know, or wanted to explain exactly what is the smell of rain. Well, it could be a couple of things. The first thing it could be is a result of soil-dwelling bacteria that secrete geosmin and when they produce spores. Now, as those raindrops fall, it helps release that earthy smell into the air. So that may be what you're smelling, but a lot of the times what we're smelling is actually a result of plants secreting oils during drier periods of weather, which we have. And those oils are used to kind of protect the leaves of the plants. But the rain causes those compounds to be released from those oils, and that smell that we get is called petrichor. And fun fact, humans are 1,000 times more sensitive to the smell of petrichor in the air than sharks are to blood in the water. So kind of a little bit of an evolutionary advantage we have there amongst our other animal friends. And another reason we could smell that rain coming is it could be a result of lightning splitting oxygen molecules into individual atoms. And when that happens, those atoms combine with oxygen and they make O3, or ozone, which has a distinct pre-rain odor. But most of the times, what we're smelling is either petrichor or that geosmin from the bacteria in the soil. So just a little science moment to talk about for you there on the weather show. We like to include that from time to time. But outside of the rain we're expecting this weekend, we are still expecting a major warm-up through next week. The Climate Prediction Center continues to paint us in these red colors here, indicating we have a very high likelihood of remaining above average for temperatures. And taking a look at our temperature trend, you can see that is definitely the case. We're already going to be above average today, tomorrow, and into Sunday, but the temperatures really take off once we get into the start of the work week after this storm system clears out of here. So we'll already pop back up into the 60s by Monday and Tuesday. And looking ahead to Wednesday, that looks like where we could see the warmest temperatures of the week, topping out in the upper 60s to maybe 70 across portions of the tri-state. And then it looks like we may have a cold front move through here Wednesday, Thursday, or possibly even into Friday. And that's where we're going to start to see those temperatures come back down into the mid to upper 50s. And we may see some chances for a few showers here, but models are kind of going back and forth of whether or not there's enough moisture or precipitation available for the front to take advantage of. So we'll keep an eye on that. Outside of the best chance, or outside of the rain this weekend, the best chance for some showers will be towards the end of next week. So you can enjoy the drier weather for the beginning of the work week, and as we see those temperatures begin to warm up, hopefully you'll be able to take advantage of that as well. But here's a look at your 7-day forecast, just to kind of wrap it up into a little bow for you. Again, we're tracking out widespread rain here this weekend. That rain will likely move in Saturday afternoon, persist overnight into Sunday morning before clearing out by Sunday afternoon. All in all, we'll pick up around 3/4 to 1.5 inches of rainfall across the tri-state. Not expecting much in the way of a flooding issue, but an isolated spot of flooding can't be completely ruled out in this case. And then we'll start to dry back out for the start of the work week as temperatures climb well above average. Well, let me go ahead and take a look at some of your comments. Suzanne, good evening. Cheyenne says good evening as well. Zach, good evening to you. Chris Smith, my fellow warm weather lover, I like your forecast, loving these temps, especially on Wednesday. I get excited every time I get to present something positive for you guys, especially, if it's about warmer weather, because I like to see some camaraderie in the comments there. A lot of people really like winter around here, but I'm definitely more of a warm weather fan, and I'm happy to see all the snow finally melting away outside of the big old piles in the parking lots. So hopefully by next week, maybe those piles will even be gone by then. But until then, everybody, have a great rest of your evening. I'll send you over to 14 News at 10 for all the latest news and weather headlines. Until then, everybody, stay safe, have a great rest of your night, and stay dry this weekend.